Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. My name is Evi and I read books, and today I got 3 little stacks of books that I'm gonna talk to you guys about. And these books are for multiple reasons on this list. These are the books that I'm gonna try to finish by the end of this year. Some of them I have mentioned in like 5-star predictions like last year or the year before maybe even, and I haven't read them. Like, how is that even possible? I have no clue, don't judge. Some of them are just series that I just couldn't, like I just kind of not continued in, and one of my things is I want to try to continue on quicker with series. And some of them are just some Dutch books that I'm not really interested in, but I am still interested in, or like I have them, so I want to finish them, but I'm not 100% sure if I want to read them. Still, like one of these 10 books is like that. And you know what? Let's just start off with that one. And that one is Postscriptum by Peter Asper. I have read like a month or two ago a book of him, and I realized I did not like them as much as I thought I liked his books. I did not like the writing style. There was a little too much alcohol and the detective parts. They just didn't spoke to me, so this could possibly be a DNF. And I have another book of him that I still have on my shelves that I might also DNF eventually, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not gonna decide right now. That's why it's on this list, because I'm gonna decide at least in December if I'm finishing or wanted to read more of his books, because I have read a lot of his books and I did like them, but that was more in my beginning of like really reading a lot again. And right now I am reading so much more, and I'm having a real reading taste, and I just don't know if these fit in there. And then the next Dutch book or Belgian author that I'm currently trying to finish off, or like trying to get up, trying to finish off the series, or at least up to date with the series, and that is Team Mortis. They have been on my channel quite a long time, but this is the next book I have to read, and I think I have to read 3 more after this. Yes, 3 more books after this, and I just kind of never pick them up, but I do enjoy them when I do. So I'm trying to prioritize at least this part to maybe read the 3 other parts fairly quickly, back to back, or like with a book between or something. That I'm up to date, because I do really enjoy these series. These like a 3, 3, 4, 3.5. Some of them are 4-star, I think, even. So it's really nice, but it's just, I don't know, I tend to pick up different books, and I stopped making TBRs because I wanted to mood read, and maybe I am gonna start picking up TBRs again and making them to make myself more accountable of reading different books. One of those different books is this. This is Later by Stephen King. I have a love-hate relationship with Stephen King's books. I like his stories, but they're just so long. I mean, I've read 3 of his books, like a trilogy, but they're just so long that I sometimes think like you can make this book so much shorter, with like more straight to the point than the way he wrote it. And I'm afraid that it's going to be with all of his books, and that's why I'm putting this one off, and that's why this one is on the list. I also have another one that's larger and way more intimidating than this one, but I thought, you know, let's try this one, because if I do like this book, for example, I might just buy more of Stephen King. If I end up also thinking that this is way too long for what the story is about, I might not read Stephen King anymore. So next up is The Last of August by Brittany Caballero, which is the second one in the Sherlock Holmes series, if I'm correctly, and I do really enjoy the first one. It's a bit, like, I think the granddaughter or the great-granddaughter of Sherlock Holmes and James Watson, his great-grandchild or something, are mixed together, and they are solving crimes. That's literally what these books are about. I actually really like these type of books, so I don't really know why I haven't continued on with it, but I just want to read this book so I can just get on. I think it's a trilogy, or there are 4 books of it. It's also finished, if I'm correctly, and I enjoyed it, so I don't know why I haven't been continuing on reading it. So that's actually the main thing that I'm doing this. Same thing goes for this one. I have enjoyed the first one. I kind of liked the second one, and I did want to continue on with the series, and that is Escaping from Houdini by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the 3rd book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, which is an historical series based on like the 1890-ish, I think, and it all basically takes place with like a historical figure. In this case, Houdini. The first one was Jack the Ripper. And the second one, I'm not planning on rereading the first and the second one, only if I feel like I need it for the story. But I do feel like sometimes series have like an in-depth description of what happened in the beginning of the book. If it's not, then I reread series parts. But I do remember like this writing style was a little difficult to get into sometimes, so I don't really know if I feel like rereading them. But then again, I did really like them, so maybe I could, but there's just so many books that I want to read, and that's the problem with wanting to reread books. Physically, mostly I do it on audio. Maybe there are on audio. I might check that. Then another book that's the second part in a trilogy that I wanted to read, that I did really enjoy, but I haven't read in 2 years, I think, and that is Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. I have read Shadow and Bone when that series came out because I wanted to watch the series, and I was like, I'm gonna read the trilogy and then watch the series. Haven't watched the series, haven't finished the trilogy. So that's the reason why this is on my list. I remember I did like it. I didn't love it, but I liked it, so that's why I wanted to continue with it. And I do also really like the covers. I'm not a big fantasy reader, and for me to like really pick up a fantasy and enjoy it a lot doesn't really happen that often, so I did enjoy it, the first one. So that's why I'm gonna be like, you know what, read the second one. If I don't enjoy it that much, or it's like, I might DNF this series and just watch the TV show. But I want to give it a try to actually get done this year finally. And then these two books were, I think, last year on my 5-star predictions list, and I just haven't got around to them. And that's what happens with me. I make lists, I want to read books, I feel excited, then I just get up into a reading slump or something and I don't read those books. The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss, and Velvet Was a Night by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is the first one in a series, I think, which also has some historical elements with like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, if I'm correctly, and also some Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson I see here. So this could be like a really great story, and that's why it was a 5-star prediction. I also really like the feel. It's like really thin paper. I don't know. It has a nice feel, the book. I think, I don't know why I put it off. I think I was really interested in it, and then I read a ton of other books, kind of forgot about it, and then I saw it again in my shelves and was like, girl, go read it. Same thing with Velvet Was a Night. I picked this one as a 5-star prediction or most anticipated book of 2022, I think, because of the fact that I loved Mexican Gothic. God, I adored Mexican Gothic. Like, I devoured that book, and it was gruesome and gory, but it was amazing, and I loved it. And I wanted to read more of Silvia Moreno Garcia, and the reason that I picked this one, because this one was, I think, the newest release and the most interesting one, or it sounded the most interesting to me, so that's why I picked this one to really wanted to read, and I haven't read it. It's not like I'm not interested, because like these books I am really interested in. The continuations in the series, I just have like this weird thing that I kind of never do that, and then I read another part and I'm like, yeah, I love the series, why am I not finishing it? And some of the other books are just like, I need to read them or I need to DNF them. They're not allowed on my shelves anymore. The next two are two books I bought last year. One in September last year, but I'm just really excited to read it, and I wanted to have some books that I'm less excited to read and some books that I'm really excited to read, so I could have like a good list of the books that I want to read the next 5 months. So the last two are actually still sort of excited. I just need to get back into them. And this one is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I bought this last year in September, I think. And it's I think a fantasy book. I just really like the cover and the yellow spine. Like, I never have bright yellow spines. I have heard a lot about it, and I just want to dive into it and finally read it. So that's that. And then the next one I pre-ordered last year, and it's such a shame, but I pre-ordered a book and I haven't read it, and that is I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. I have never read any Casey McQuiston books. I think it was also a little bit more of a mystery element to it, and that's why I liked it. And it actually, I kind of forgot about it. And then I was in a bookstore like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I saw it there, like visibly laying it, and I was like, hey, I have that book, I think. But it was a different cover, and I was like, do I have that book? And I was reading the back, and I think, yes, I have that book. I looked at my shelves, I have the book. And for me to forget about it, it's like really weird because I don't have like a ton. I think I have like 20 or 30 unread books, so it's really not that much. So I want to read it, and I do really want to prioritize it. And it's a little summery, springish cover, so maybe I just try to read it this summer. I don't know. At least in the next 5 months. The next thing that I'm just gonna say is these are books that I kind of have to read or I want to read this year still. Some of them I already mentioned that I'm planning on DNFing them if I don't read them or haven't read them by then, because that means I'm not gonna get any more interested in them. The other parts, like these books, I am interested in them and I will definitely keep them if I don't finish them, but I just want to make myself a list. I might also put them on a different shelf in my bookshelf or like a different way, so I know these are the 10 books that I kind of have to finish really quickly, or at least try to get like 1 or 2 a month of, if I'm counting correctly. But these are all the books that I really am gonna read until the end of the year. Otherwise, some of them are gonna go, some of them are gonna hang out on my shelves otherwise, but I just hope to have not hang out, because I don't want books to hang out on my shelves. They need to be read, and then they can hang as long as I want. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Leave down in the comments below if you have any books that you're actually really trying to read, but you just never get around to them, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!